Welcome to a very, 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 very not so special episode of The Movie Wrench. Today at The Movie Wrench we are taking on Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and we're breaking all of our rules. Usually our rules consist of three parts. One, we see the movie at least twice. In this case, I don't plan to see it again and don't wish to see it again. Number two, I usually buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or what have you of the film because I feel morally obligated to do so. Why, I don't know, but I do. And number three, there's no script. Usually I write a script, I rehearse, and believe it or not, these things actually are written out ahead of time. It may seem like they're not, but they are. This time around, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice versus the audience, is just opening today. A few lucky folks, and by a few lucky folks I mean anybody who had money and decided to go, got to see it yesterday, Thursday, early in the evening. I was not pleased. I went into the film initially feeling a little bit negative, I'll admit, but then as I sat watching the innumerable previews, I thought, let's back off. You know, maybe some of the mistakes I had with Man of Steel will be fixed in this film. Maybe there'll be a fresh take. Maybe there'll be something interesting. I don't think that's what happened. So I decided to come home and find that my inbox was flooded with thousands of letters of fans saying, "Mr. Douchebag, will you please do a more topical episode of The Movie Wrench so that we can get your opinion right now?" And by thousands, I mean two people. But thank you anyway. Thank you, viewer. Anyway, so one of the rules I will not break here on The Movie Wrench is to let you know that this time around, more than ever, there will be huge honkin' spoilers. I mean, I'm just going to let plot elements fly. Usually it's not such a big deal because all the films that I've reviewed in the past have been out for a couple of years at best, or sometimes longer than that. So it's pretty well assumed people who might be interested in the review have already seen it. In this case, since the film just opened today, I will let you know I'm going to talk about big plot points. I will not shy away from them. If you have not seen the film and wish to see the film, turn this off, go away, and go do something else. Off you go. So, for those who wish to hear what I have to say, hipster J douchebag at the Movie Wrench about Batman versus Superman versus the rest of us, here's how it goes. Plot point one. No, not plot point, but my point one. So, sitting there at the film, waiting for it to start, big logo goes away, and I'm like, oh, let's see what this is going to be about. Son of a bitch! Oh, they show the goddamn origin of Batman again! We know where Batman came from. We get it. We know who Bruce Wayne is. We know his parents were murdered in front of him. We know. I don't think you're legally allowed to go to kindergarten and not know the origin of Batman. Why do they need to take 10 minutes in agonizing slow motion to show us this again? Why? Because of a stupid plot point later in the film where we have to point out that the name of Bruce's mother and the name of Clark's mother is in fact the same. So, point number one, we don't need the origin. Point number two, as Superman was not Superman in Man of Steel, Batman is not Batman in Batman vs. Superman. And I say this because there's certain core parts of Batman that really shouldn't be messed with and haven't been in decades. The most recent outing of Batman in his Dark Knight trilogy, this was a very key point to that character, and that is Batman doesn't kill people. Well, in this film, people kind of get in the way and it's inconvenient, so he just kills them. He has guns in his vehicles, he shoots people with their own guns, he has no problem killing them just to get to the bad guy who for some reason isn't doing what Lex Luthor told him to do. Whatever. He also never shows any real detective qualities that we're so used to. Batman's supposed to be cunning. He's supposed to be really smart, on the ball. He figures out ways to do things that other people don't. Except in this film when all he really does is... Yeah. So, point number two, that's not Batman. Point number three, story logic. So, I think what happened here was somebody, Zack Snyder, the producers, maybe the screenwriter, I don't know, somebody somewhere basically said, you know that big fight in Dark Knight Returns where Batman fights Superman and they fight with kryptonite and stuff? Yeah, I want that, and I want Doomsday, where Doomsday fights Superman and kills Superman. I want those two things, Doomsday fighting Superman, and Batman fighting Superman like in Dark Knight Returns, and I don't care how you get there, just do it! And that's what we got. So, for those who don't know, in Dark Knight Returns, Batman does indeed fight Superman to a standstill, but this has been brewing over decades. They've known each other for a long time. It makes sense. Here, they keep coming up with reasons to make them fight that don't make sense. We try to piss Bruce Wayne off by doing things like having a bomb go off in a Senate subcommittee hearing with Superman in attendance, and it kills everybody in the room, although it's plainly obvious to anybody that the bomb could not have come, in fact, from Superman, and yet this is the breaking point that causes Bruce to go and fight Superman and make his nasty weapon and steal kryptonite from Lex Luthor and blah, 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 blah. There's tons of plot points like this just don't make sense. We don't know why Lex Luthor particularly wants to go after Superman. We don't know why the security on the downed Kryptonian spaceship is so awful that it will respond not only to just a known dead person's fingerprints that have been sliced off with kryptonite and put onto Lex Luthor's hands with, I'm guessing, crazy glue, but in fact the computer system and the security system speaks English. Yeah, so there's just no story logic here. And speaking of story logic, there is a cameo that I want anybody who goes to see this film to look out for. If you blink, you will miss it. It's very important. There is a very, very, very short cameo by Physics. Otherwise, they're totally missing from this film. Moving on. Next point, number 4, is Lex Luthor. So Lex Luthor is generally portrayed as somebody who's very intelligent, has a lot of resources, who basically takes what he wants. He's more of an emperor, a sort of Caesar or Nero sort of character. He's manipulates people, spider-like, but also a sense of strength and power about his own person. In this case, we have Jesse Eisenberg, who kind of seems like a whiny kid. I guess he's smart, although we are told that he inherited the LexCorp from his father, whom I guess was supposed to be the original Lex. I don't know. In any case, we have somebody portraying Lex Luthor as kind of a crazy young kid who hates Superman, but for reasons we have no idea where they came from. And he spends all of his time trying to get Superman. And there's also this big plot point about Lex Luthor trying to get kryptonite, which was found in seas outside India, I think, back into the United States, but they won't give him the papers to bring it in, so he just brings it in. I don't understand why he even cares what the government says. Anyway, Lex Luthor, for me, in this film, the depiction didn't work. And the shaving his head bald in the prison scene at the very end of the film was really dumb. Finally, motivation. As I said, the motivation in this film is really weird. I don't know where it's coming from. They are really trying to shoehorn Batman and Superman into this giant fight, which makes no sense. Lex Luthor's hatred for Superman and potentially Batman makes no sense. One of the other big points of motivation I'm going to point out is I don't know what motivated the people involved with this film to take Metropolis and Gotham, which, as everyone knows, has stood for New York and Chicago for decades, and place them across a bay from each other. So that now, when the bat signal goes up, you can see it from the Daily Planet building. There it is. It makes Gotham and Metropolis really into more like Minneapolis and St. Paul. This is not to say anything bad about Minneapolis and St. Paul, very nice places. And yes, I know there's no bay there. However, why is Gotham and Metropolis suddenly across from each other? We don't know. They just suddenly are. Superman, his motivation he doesn't seem to have any. It's sort of like, well, I'm Superman, I'm going to do this stuff. And then he talks to his mom and she's like, oh, you should do what your father said, which of course makes no sense because his father said, don't ever use your powers, don't let anybody know. Quiet, whatever. And then, of course, his father shows up and he's giving him even more bad advice. Whatever. Bruce Wayne's motivation doesn't make any sense. Yes, he somehow happened to be in Metropolis when the big fight was going on, and he helped pull some of his own people from the building, but really, that whole bit about the bomb went off and it's Superman's fault makes absolutely no sense. Lex Luthor or whatever. Motivation. Don't understand it. That's pretty much it here. I'm going to make this a very short, if possible, report here of the super, super amazingly special episode of the Movie Wrench. I tried this once already and it came out to 25 minutes, so not all short. If you want to go see the film, I hope you enjoy it. I did not. And quite honestly, I'm tired of all this money being spent on things that have nothing to do with good storytelling. That's the point of the Movie Wrench. I did not offer any fixes this time around, one of the other rules that I broke, but so be it. Next time there will be a script, there will be more shots, there will be whatever, it'll be the Movie Wrench. But for now, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice is in theaters. Go if you dare. Good night.
Tune in next time when we tighten the nuts on another giant, huge, mega, big smash explosion of a movie. And remember, these are only opinions. Mine. They don't hurt much.